Good evening and welcome back to the Sunday sessions on Where the Owls Sleep. Back with me and Stocky this week. We have got another debutant coming in as well. How's it going, Stocks? You good?
Yeah, well, good, mate. I had a lovely weekend because I've hardly watched any football, so I'm feeling fresh and good to go.
Yeah, I wish I could say the same. I haven't watched loads of football, but I did watch Newcastle and it wasn't good. We got our annual humping at Manchester City. I'm not even just going to say the Etihad because we used to get humped at Main Road as well. So lovely stuff. Fun as always. Orient won though, so that's a good segue into our guests for this week. How's it going, Jack? You good?
Yeah. My team did win. So, yes, we've now scored in our last two league games 7 goals in the second half. So, running at 3.5 goals per second half at the moment.
Nice.
Apart from the game we won.
True betting man, that is.
0 all game.
That was dreadful.
I think that's just me. That curse is just me. Stocky will agree. Every game we ever go to is horrendous.
Yeah.
Although Orient signed a player from you like a few days later, didn't they?
And you scored 16 minutes into his debut,
Yeah. Football's just horrible to all
of
us.
Well, I can guarantee, mate, if he scores on Saturday, that'll be me straight down the steps. Yeah, and it's a big game on Saturday though. Bolton Leighton Orient, it's actually very big game.
Yeah, both on the same points. That league is mental tight in the playoff area.
They might, unless they are genuinely that as good as they seem to be at the moment, they might have just hit their purple patch at the wrong time. I mean, they might be good and keep cracking on, but if they've hit that patch now, that's not what you need in League One.
Nah, you need it last 10 games.
Yeah, you just need to be a juggernaut all the way, basically, at Birmingham. Like Wickham, they've just built up such a massive. I met my first Wickham fan this weekend as well. I didn't realise they existed.
I've never met one.
Yeah, well, I was in High Wycombe, to be fair, though. So if I didn't catch one of them in the wild there, then I've got no chance of it.
I remember you having an extreme. The only time you've gone against any of my bet suggestions was when I said Wickham for top 3 in League One this season.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not famously well known for being right with predictions, though. So it comes as no shock, really. But
to be fair, I'd love to say it was educated. It was a follow the money gamble.
But they seem to be dropping off at the precisely wrong time as well. Because if you don't get automatics, then you're into playoffs and you're in not the best run of form, and it's very, very, very hard to get out of that. We were comfortably the third best team in the league last year by position and just fact. I actually think we were second, but that means fuck all, doesn't it, when you lose the playoff final? And we did really well in the playoffs. Got to playoff final, but the year before we basically came 6th, weren't in a good run of form, and instantly went out in the playoffs. 1-0 on Aguirre over 2 games, which is just pathetic, isn't it? Really
terrible, terrible stuff. Right, so I'm guessing everybody's now gathered that Jack is a Bolton fan. He's our League One nemesis, as me and Stocky's both our second teams of Orient. So at the minute, we're both chasing that promotion spot. This evening show, we're going to talk about Mavericks. So, Stocky, you first. As there already seems to be some objections to some of the players in the list, I would like what you would see as a Maverick when it comes to football.
Well, when you put this out during the week, you said you can pick your favourite and then pick a West Ham one as well. So I was struggling with the West Ham one because I had 2 come to mind. And although he was only there 18 months, Paye drove it close, but it could only be Paolo. And that's what I class as a true Maverick, because one day he could be genius, and then the next day he could be horrendous or worse even. And he was always good, because I was having a little. I couldn't remember which clubs he played for. So from the start, he was Lazio, Juventus, Napoli, Milan. So all right. He was always good, but for each of them teams, he was only over there like a year, 2 years tops. And then luckily, like, he found a bit of a home at West Ham. One of the last things I wrote down was, oh yeah, he pushed over a referee and got banned for everything. One of the last things I thought of.
Yeah, that's pretty special.
Now that's
Even
what.
the time where the goalie was down injured, and West Ham cross it in, and he just catches it.
See, this is what I mean by a Maverick. He could do absolutely anything at any time, and there's no reason or logic to it.
Fair play.
That's how I see my Mavericks, and yeah, like there's lots of stories. So like for all like say like the goal against Wimbledon, or like the slalom run against Man United, then putting it underneath Barthez when they're trying to claim offside. At the same time, there was he had a fight with nearly fighting with Lampard over a penalty, and went and sat down on the halfway line and asked to be subbed in a game. And there was
didn't even know that one.
Yeah, he was proper kicking off about it. And there was another time at training that like doing a forwards and midfielders drill, and he decided he wanted to be a midfielder, so he's supposed to be pigging balls everywhere. He was like just smashing them everywhere. Couldn't get one pass, threw a wobbly, walked out, complained about everything. Like the next day, he come in and made a tiramisu. That's what I mean.
Good apology, to be fair.
Well, I bet it was well nice.
Yeah. You weren't going to tell him if it wasn't, but
no, you'd be wearing it sharpish, wouldn't you? But yeah, just things like that. It's just madness, and that's kind of what I look for in a Maverick.
Fair play. How about you, Jack?
Well, I actually have thought about. So Maverick does teeter quite closely to cult hero type status, doesn't it? Because on the one hand, you are saying they're really good, but sometimes there's a bit more to it. So I know someone's popped into my head, which everyone would be like, oh, and for Bolton, that's probably El Hadji Diouf.
Oh, yeah, no, to be fair.
He was actually quite good, but he was integral to what we did in terms of being wind-up merchants. We didn't have much, for want of a better word, like skill and talent really in those times. So there's no one better in the world on falling over and holding the ball and basically sticking it on the ref to give him a free kick. But yeah, him. I mean, he's absolutely crazy. I've met him a few times. I met him and he was singing pro Bin Laden songs outside of a bar in Manchester. Just for he's not a Muslim. I've met him in Africa before as well, and he's like just crazy. And now he's just turned into like an absolute hench machine, just for seemingly no reason, which is just brilliant. But yeah, loads of it's obviously disgusting and wrong, but he didn't spit on one player; he spat on two on different occasions. Spat at fans again. It was Celtic fans. It wasn't in the middle of a Glasgow derby. It was Liverpool Celtic for again just no particular reason to do the most disgusting thing. He did it to Arjun Dazoo for Portsmouth, who by all accounts is like a spectacularly nice chap as well. And just did it to him. I think he's a copper now, that Dazoo. But yeah, him, because he was when he was ours. It gives you that cult hero Maverick type status, doesn't it? I mean, he scored against Atletico Madrid for us, and we beat them 1-0 in a European knockout tie. Like, that's obviously does give you that. If you do that, you're half decent, aren't you? And Aguero actually got sent off for spitting. So I mean, it's still very, very odd. But yeah, so probably, I mean, JJ Okocha is the obvious name that springs to mind. I mean, it has to be for a Maverick because he is, and I mean, even spectacular players that are much better than him openly say like he is what made me want to get into football. But JJ Okocha used to stink the place out sometimes. He didn't score for the whole season. I did see him hit the crossbar the woodwork 4 times once in one game. That was the season he scored none as well, I think. So, I mean, you'd probably just give up after that, wouldn't you? Yeah. And he was stinking on his day sometimes. But he is the Maverick, isn't he? You know, the things he used to do, people literally could not do, let alone attempt it. And every season that passed, it was like, why is no one signing him from us? Why is he still playing for us? Because we couldn't pay him mega bucks. Like, he was obviously getting good wages, obviously, but so yeah, it would be JJ Okocha or Juve for me, I think, for the Maverick type player.
I always think about that free kick that from the left-hand side of the box against Villa, and he hits it with the outside of his right foot to the near post.
And do you know what I said to my dad?
Just ridiculous. What's that?
Don't shoot.
So
I've sat in the same seats for 25 years, and 2 people to our left, 2 people to our right, and my dad. But everyone around us, basically, and I'm sure that's no surprise that people don't really move or newcomers join. But yeah, and it's over 2 decades, and I'm frequently reminded about it. Yeah, and I remember it. I remember close day. I was like, "Don't shoot," and then when it went in, I was just like, "How?"
Yeah, exactly.
But it's a bit rubbish. Not rubbish, but then obviously we won 5-2 in that game, which is a semi-final. And then the second leg, we lost 2-0 just to make it nerve-shreddingly awful. I mean, we flopped in the final, of course. But yeah, don't shoot. That's what I said.
Fair play. The thing I always remember, there's two Okocha moments I remember. One of them's not Bolton. I think it was PSG against Bayern.
That's Frankfurt.
Well, there you go.
Is that when he
where he turns him about 8 times before smashing it in. And then the other one's the moment in the corner against Arsenal where he just absolutely takes the piss. Although the ball goes out of play.
It doesn't, though, which still angers me to this day. The ball categorically does not go out of play. Because he never used to protest either, Okocha. Ever, really. And he should have done it more because he was fouled so often. He would just generally just get straight back up. And he does protest that as well, because not only do you know, I've just done, I think it's Martin Keowney does as well, which, but sometimes not the wisest decision. But he used to do stuff every single game that was. I think Soccer Saturday actually basically kicked him out of, not Soccer Saturday, sorry,
Soccer AM.
Soccer AM basically just said like it's a bit shit, the skills thing, because he's just in it every single week. So, we'll try and show some random lad from Cheltenham. It was amazing. He helped. Everyone still says JJ Okocha to me now. Like that's everyone's first reaction when they say it. Like, if you love football, because he was just so unique, and did it in an era which was quite hard to do it in.
Yeah. Fair enough. Well, my definition, which Stocky protests ever so slightly, is just someone who's that talented that they just play the game the way they want to play it regardless. And they get away with it at whatever level it is they do it at. Now we've just had a little chat about certain players. I've actually annoyed myself because I've left out Faustino Asprilla, who is probably Newcastle's biggest Maverick ever. And is my favourite ever Newcastle player, and I didn't even put him in the list. So, yeah, that's my bad on that. But I will hold that moment against Barcelona very close to my heart forever. But sorry, Faust, I've left you out of the list.
Yeah, but yeah, he is what I would also just say is Maverick. If you were, that's perfectly.
100%, yeah. The player we signed when we was 12 points clear at Christmas, and as much as we could have won the league if we bought a centre back, would have changed it for the world. Got to win for a few years.
So who did you go for then?
Right, let's roll into the list.
I'm thinking one of two.
What, for Newcastle?
I've got 2 guesses.
There's only one other that could have made it over him, to be fair. But we've got a list which is probably, I think, is about 20 to 24 long.
Wow.
and I've paired them up. Everybody has got. I've paired them up as close as I possibly could, and we are going to start here. Two slightly different players. These are probably the two furthest apart from the ones that I've paired up, but
Probably in penis.
the man on the left, Wilfried Zaha. What was that?
Probably in penis sizes as well.
Hey, you never know. Zola could have been.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't need it. I mean, yeah, fair play to him.
But unless you were saying that you've seen Wilfried Zaha and he's got a really tiny penis.
I'd be very shocked at that. Yeah.
Right. So to start with you, Jack. What are your thoughts on? Let's go with Zaha first.
Yeah, I think he is a Maverick-ish, isn't he? But he probably. I think the other aspect to a Maverick as well is that you're not soft, or you're at least a bit of a wind-up merchant. Like he wasn't particularly a wind-up merchant, and he also, for whatever reason, right? I mean, he's supremely talented, isn't he? But he's kind of flopped to a degree, right?
Yeah, it was. I've put him in because at Crystal Palace, the team was basically built around him, and he got to do whatever he was whatever he wanted to do because he was that talented. Obviously, he went to Man United, didn't work because he was after them playing a system. But at most other clubs in the country, I think it probably would have worked because everybody else would have done a similar thing. That's similar to what we did with St. Maximum. Just send him out, put him out on the left, get him the ball, let him do whatever he wants because he was that kind of Maverick. And he backed it up with a lot. He's still Crystal Palace's top Premier League goal scorer ever.
He can't be far off the assists. If not, he's got that as well, to be honest.
He probably has, which is why I've put him in there, because as much as he flopped at Man United, he has been absolute class for Crystal Palace on both of his stints that he was there.
I think obviously the definition of Maverick is probably never going to stop at this point, but it's also another thing is that someone you can think of and you think when they're on their day, they are actually unplayable. That is and he was one of them people. If he was on it, then you would be able to see as well. Like you'd be able to after a few minutes, you'd be like, oh, he's on it.
Yeah.
He's on it. Yeah. And at that point, he did actually just become, unstoppable. He was a firm fantasy football favourite one of people.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
You want to add anything on Zaha stocks?
No, you covered it. He weren't always my favourite player. I found him quite annoying at times.
Yeah, because he was one that went down easy and whinged to the ref a lot.
Yeah. Everything was always, and whenever he done something wrong, he'd always wave his arms at other people, if you know what I mean. Like it was always like, "Oh, that pass was terrible." You're supposed to be the big boy here. You're supposed to be the.
I'm guessing we've all played with players who do that a little bit too much.
Oh yeah. I could talk a lot more about Zola though. I bloody loved it.
That's it. Go on, roll in. Let's go on to Gianfranco.
Just magic, because he was like the early doors of sort of, when like in the papers they used to call it the foreign invasion and things like that.
Yeah.
But he was actually good. There was no complaints. He improved things immeasurably. Like he was on Sky the other week with Jamie Carragher, and they had to keep showing that thing where he totally rinsed him. And there was the other game where
Carragher goes to smash him, and he just sort of
twice. Then he gets up and he goes past him again. And then they showed the other goal where he walked in between like the Man United fullback centre halves and smashed it in bottom corner. There was that
the one from the corner as well.
Yeah.
The back heel against Norwich City in the top corner where the corner comes in.
Yeah, that's the one I was thinking of.
Just outrageous. Yeah, such a good player.
Yeah, unbelievable. That one, on his day, unplayable. Couldn't get the ball off him.
He wasn't soft either, was he?
No.
He actually had proper fight in him. He scored a header, didn't he? And I can only imagine how cataclysmically angry I would be in the stands if he scored a header. I mean, that's another. I'll be halfway to the train station at that point. But yeah, he wasn't soft.
Legend has it he scored more headers in that moment than your new 6'9" striker.
Yeah, injured 6'9" striker. Yeah, but that comes as no shot. But that's will, isn't it? That's drive. That's like obviously it's talent to even be in the place to go for the ball, but that's like basically unstoppable Maverick force, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, to moments like that. But he was insanely skillful, and I think you know that there, Stocky, that he was an improvement to the Premier League. At a time when people probably did have even more guards up and shields up to wanting it. And he's very well regarded over here, isn't he? You know, he's on Sky, and people, naturally quite warm to him and like him, don't they?
Yeah. When he was at West Ham, when he was managing West Ham, like a couple of the players went into him and said, "You're the gaffer, and you're like the best player at the club." Like apparently, first day in training, like he got the ball, he ran around two people and chipped Robert Green, and like. When a keeper's proper beat and they stand and they just watch it go in like that.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry. And everyone's like, "Fuck yeah, now." They genuinely said, like, "Can you play?" He's like, no, I'm retired.
The players trying to get him out of retirement.
Yeah.
That is wild.
Isn't it?
Right, that is crazy. Right, let's roll into this was the point of contention for Stocky, one of these. I've put them in there for similar things we spoke about, both of them. Also because they sort of changed both of their respective clubs, immeasurably when they came in. Well, the respective clubs that you remember them for over here. So Man United for Cannona and Arsenal for Bergkamp. Stocky did kind of say he doesn't consider Bergkamp a Maverick, but for me, he played the game his way. He wasn't part of a system. He didn't have to sacrifice anything for the team. He was just Dennis Bergkamp. He goes out there and plays, and everything else sort of revolves around him, kind of thing. But we'll start with Cantona, as Stocky's not sure Bergkamp's a Maverick. But what are your thinks on that Maverick? Because he had that bit of mad bastard in him that you like in your Mavericks.
He was mad. He was pretty hard as well. He played up front in a time where strikers used to go around giving it some as well. He weren't no shrinking violent. And, some days he'd do outrageous things like that chip against Sunderland where he plays the 1-2. Does the chip.
One where he just stands,
yeah,
up, just sort of like, are you not entertained looking around the whole stadium?
Yeah, and like that mad press conference after the kung fu kit. That's just a starter. Then he had the mad press conference when he was coming back about the seagulls following the trawler and shit. That is Maverick behaviour. But what a player.
I think as well for him, is that he's consistently now been proven that he was just mad. It clearly wasn't an act. Like, he is legitimately, mad. But so again, just the streak of being, being able to handle yourself, skillful and unplayable. I mean, he's just tick, tick, tick with a few other legendary type moments. And even the transfer that he did was ultimately a sign of a Maverick, because how can someone be so headstrong? Because it is still probably, I bet if you typed in top 10, most controversial transfers, I would presume he's in there, if not in the top, certainly Premier League. I would presume he's still in there. I'm not saying he's pig's head on the pitch, Luis Figo territory, but it's not far off, really, is it? And then the fortunes of the two clubs for him to join and do that. I mean, obviously, we're not talking about two unknown small clubs here at all, but the fortunes of the clubs just changed.
Completely reversed.
just chalk and cheese, didn't he, from one transfer? So to have the balls to do that, you can't possibly have someone so headstrong to make that transfer. They turn up on the pitch and then you go, oh, by the way, we want you to fit into this system now, please. Because that's just, yeah. He's clearly going to be sort of, I mean, pinnacle Maverick, really, isn't he? He probably is the poster boy for Maverick, and still continues to be today.
Yeah.
20 years after, 25 years after retirement.
Well, that quote that you were talking about, Stocks, when the seagulls follow the trawler, it is because they think sardines will be thrown into the sea.
Yeah.
What on earth does that mean?
Yeah.
Like, in context of the conversation, absolutely fuck all. I mean, in terms of a sentence, yeah, okay, well, that, yeah.
He was asked about his return from the fly kick, though, wasn't he? And
exactly.
That was his only response, and it was just like, okay.
Yeah, but I don't think I might be wrong here. Did he ever actually apologise? I don't think he did apologise, did he? He was like, I refuse to.
Well, I'm guessing that I've just Googled famous Eric Cantona quotes, and one of them is "I apologise for nothing." So I'm guessing that.
Oh right, well there we go then. Yeah,
not far after the seagulls following the trawler comment.
Yeah.
Did you? Funny enough, saying about the kick, like it went to court and everything, didn't it? Yeah. And the Crystal Palace fan claimed he said, like goodbye, Mr. Cantona, when he got sent off. I guarantee, or something ridiculous like unlucky, or like, no, we know exactly what you were saying, and you got everything.
Yeah. I mean, if you think about it now, though, what it would, the uproar. We're all at football at the moment is teetering on the edge of probably the point of no return in terms of what fans are allowed to, whether that's right or wrong. I mean, I would be very surprised if a West Ham fan is siding on that side of it at the moment. But I mean, I personally think it's just getting a bit soft.
All of it's soft.
Well, all of it is, yeah. But I mean, I have seen an upturn, especially in League One and the Championship, and I've actually read I read an article about a month ago where opposition players riling up home crowds appears to be on a rise, like, cup in the air and that. Obviously, that's happened throughout football, but it's really, really increased. I think certainly in the lower leagues. And it wouldn't surprise me if something does happen soon, especially in the lower leagues. You're so close to the fans at most grounds. But the uproar that would cause now, it would split football in half, I think, at the moment. You've got one half saying that fans shouldn't be saying things and et cetera, and the other half now in this society. It would be close to a year ban, wouldn't it?
If they let him play again.
Well, if they let him play again,
if they could make an example of it.
Yeah.
But it's like in the street. You call someone a name in the street. If they decide to bang you out, that's your fault for being rude in the first place.
Correct, yeah. I'd be really embarrassed if you got kung fu kicked in the street. But the point is absolutely correct. Yeah, I'm a big rugby union fan, and a player punched a fan in a warm up, very much like what you've just said about what the Palace fan was saying. He teetered just on the edge of professionalism, and he was quite a very, very large chap, which is completely fine. Of course, we're friendly of that, I guess, on this session. He got a 5-year ban, ended his career. And the French fan was like, "Oh no, I wasn't saying that." You think if he understood it in English, you must have been extremely clear about what you were doing and saying. But yeah, I mean, he's just Maverick, isn't he? Cantona, Maverick, 101.
100%. Did anybody want to add anything on Bergkamp? I know Stocky's not really that keen on it.
Oh no! You make it sound like I don't like him. Like, he was one of my, despite playing for Arsenal, he was one of my favourite players. Like, over the park, I used to try and copy a couple of his goals because they were like just so jaw-droppingly good. I see him as too calculated and too. what you say about doing his own thing, definitely. But he was just so intelligent and calculated about everything he done. Like I won his autobiography at the Hayland raffle one year. I got him and Perlo's autobiographies.
Wow.
So I was reading that, and he was like, "Oh yeah, as a kid, I just kick the ball and just experiment with different kinds of spin and like how to master the ball." And I'm like, "That's not Maverick. That's just verging on divinity as opposed to being a Maverick."
It's also verging on being a bit of a mad bastard, though. It takes a bit of madness to just think I'm just going to take this ball and I'm going to just do everything I possibly can with it. As weird as that sounds.
I didn't think he was that great, personally. Yeah, I don't. He always had a stinker against Bolton. Always struggled against us. And if we're going up against, I'm thinking my definition of Maverick is the tough streak in him. He always seemed to flop it against Bolton, and he was obviously very skillful. But yeah, he never seemed to do it. I mean, I could be totally wrong here. What were his numbers? Was he ever top goal scorer or?
I think his if the assist numbers weren't really a massive thing back then, but I think if they were, they would have been pretty astronomical because him and Ian Wright had a ridiculous partnership, and then it went on a little bit with Omri as well. And as on the flip side of what Stocky was saying, I've read Wrighty's biography, and he praises him to the highest. For he literally just used to say to Ian Wright, "You just make your run, I'll find you."
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. If I get the ball, make a run, I will find you. And he just did over and over and over again.
But that's 90% of what Ian Wright would just be wanting you to do anyway. So he's never, if someone is openly saying to Ian Wright, "Yeah, I'm just going to keep passing to you," Ian Wright will be like, "Well, yeah, thanks very much."
But then you've got to look at the hat trick against Leicester, the goal for Holland against Argentina in the World Cup. They're just unbelievable moments that not many players can pull off.
If you ever have any spare time, and obviously I do, if you even just look at his Ajax goals, it's no one ever you don't often see him. You've got to go looking for him because obviously it's all the Arsenal stuff mainly in Holland, but his goals for Ajax are ridiculous.
Yeah,
it's my little tip for the evening. There's a couple of dream of a player. I watched him at Leyton Orient once in a pre-season friendly. I was like, he keeps the ball on the floor. What's this?
Yeah.
What's this stuff?
His touch was pretty outrageous, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah. Right. These next two are let's just bring them in. Again, I've gone for supremely talented. Ronaldinho is probably my favourite ever player to watch play football and just did whatever he wanted on the pitch, off the pitch. And Maradona kind of speaks for himself, an absolute mad bastard that did exactly the same thing. And both of them, when they were on it, you don't stop them. Like Ronaldinho from getting clapped in an El Clasico by the Real Madrid fans and stuff like that is just bonkers.
I think
I wish we had. Go on, Jack. Mate.
Yeah. I mean, Ronaldinho didn't even need to be tough, did he? Because he was so good that everyone was just going to protect him. Maradona, of course, did have a mad bastard streak in him, but Ronaldinho didn't even need that because obviously everyone would just rush to protect him and look after him. But he was next level for skills and things like that. People couldn't even foul him. That's like transcends talent, doesn't it? If people can't even that actively want to foul you and they cannot foul you, that's probably the pinnacle of unstoppable, isn't it?
Yeah.
You can't even foul someone. Or get the ball off them without fouling them, of course. I think you don't even bother with plan A. I think straight to plan B.
Plan B, yeah. Don't try and get it off him. Just wipe him out.
Yeah, he still winds me up that he says that goal against England was a shot. I mean, because it clearly wasn't. But I do respect the fact that he's just outright lying and whatever. But he is that talented. But he clearly didn't mean it. But yeah, mega. And I think it must be what all players of our era link themselves to, right? Like for the skillful aspect of it. If that's your type of game, he's got to be sort of number one for it, right?
Yeah, he's got to be the go-to player.
I think he could be the last proper sort of like where you'd get a solid team and go do as you please, like at a world level.
And that was successful. And it was crucially that was successful because Neymar was basically giving that, wasn't he? And they would flap it on the crucial moments. It was evidence based that that's what happened with Neymar when he was given that. But he did that, and I think you're totally right. Yeah, someone so good to say, do what you want, and the team thrived. Around him.
One of the biggest.
Yeah, that's definitely the that's a good point because some teams do not thrive. Say like PSG a few years ago, when they had Neymar, Messi, and Mbappe.
Yeah,
they had them free play, and it just didn't work, did it?
No.
I'd say looking at Diego, I think it's just a shame we just don't have enough footage to watch of him. Really.
But even if you watch warm-up footage, it just screams Maverick. He's doing like the maddest stuff that players wouldn't even think to do, and he's just doing it for his warm-up. He's just
like cocaine for a start.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've been in a couple of changing rooms.
And seemingly not being interested in hiding it either. And very much on the Cantona theme that his was no BS. He continued to be a mad bastard 30 years after retirement. So it's not an act of any sort. Like he was ultra talented, ultra crazy, and again he's another one that would stick up for himself. Like I've seen a video. I think it's in like a Copa del Rey final where
against Athletic Bilbao.
Yeah, I mean that looked like an absolute bloodbath, to be honest with you. But
it was.
And he just goes crazy. But yeah, it's and I hate it when people say this that are much older than you go, and the pitches and the balls. But it is true. Like the pitches he would play on, the balls, the people who weren't very much going for plan A. It was just straight to foul and still, getting on with the next one. Crazy.
Well, apart from when he started a 22-man brawl while playing for Napoli, I believe.
Yeah, well, I mean, but people want to protect them, don't they? People, you run.
It wasn't even that. It was just he went. Yeah. His head just went, and he started drop kicking people.
Yeah, and I just, by all accounts, well, he just outrightly refused to pay tax in any country at any moment in his career. Just was like, no, I just don't fancy paying tax. So thanks very much. I think a lot of the clubs in the end just had to. They wanted to keep him, just going like, right, okay, we'll pay you tax bill as well. Then what a brilliant life. Yeah, and Emmy was like protected by the mafia and stuff when he was at Napoli, and even then he would still come out and say things about them. But I mean, he's revered, isn't he? Well, their stadium's called the Maradona Stadium, isn't it, Napoli?
Yeah, they renamed it.
He is. Even when I watch like football programs or even like cooking programs in Napoli, like all the shops they just show clips of. It's all still got like Maradona shirts and Maradona t-shirts outside it now.
Everywhere,
Which is Maverick. That is Maverick, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, you're talking about someone that's probably not played for him for what, 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
And
Absolutely dragged them to a European trophy.
Well, yeah. Well, I think wasn't he the last person? They only won the league since he left 2 years ago, didn't he, Napoli?
Yeah, with Kvaratskhelia and Osimhen and whatnot.
Yeah. And you know, so that was the whole gap that he wasn't there for. So yeah, he's another like Maverick 101, isn't he? There's nothing not touched upon. He's a cult hero, all his clubs and countries. I mean, unfortunately for me, not to be all Rule Britannia, his hatred of the England will never see that he's never gonna become top of my list of anything. You know, if he'd maybe just stopped the Malvinas chat a few times, then you know he would go up there. But obviously, if you're Argentinian, this wouldn't even this would be like the quickest podcast of all time, wouldn't it? Because it'd just be like, it's Maradona. There's literally no one that comes close to him, regardless of what you're going to say to me. So may as well just wrap it up now and go and get some more Maradona t-shirts or whatever
or shovel.
Yeah.
Just go for both. Just go all in, get both. Easy.
Yeah.
I tell you what would be a good one here, just before we go see anyone else, if we've ever had a successful Maverick player who was also a successful manager. Because we haven't seen anyone yet on the list, have we?
Di Canio won the league with Swindon, I think.
He also won I'm sure he won a North East derby as well for Sunderland.
He didn't do much else there, did he?
No.
They hated him.
Yeah.
Well, these next two definitely don't fit that bracket, to be fair. But this is like I still kind of wish I put Asprilla in there, but because Ben Arthur was probably at the time, if someone said to me, "What one player in world football could you sign for Newcastle?" and it'd be semi-realistic that you'd be able to sign him, I'd say would have said Ben Arthur. And then all of a sudden he was with us doing crazy things that most players couldn't even dream of. Like his first goal for us was from 35 yards on his right foot. To smash one into the top corner against Everton. He was just a joke of a player. And how he was playing for us under like Steve Bruce and people like that is beyond me. And then we loaned him to Hull, which was glorious stuff. I still can't get my head around it. As soon as that happened, I was like, yeah, manager's got to go. This can't be right.
The English distrust of a Maverick.
Yeah. Anyone that manages a Ben Arthur and you can't get him into the team, you don't deserve to manage a football club. I'm not having it. But even before that, his link up with Benzema, and I still say he had the talent to have been on that level with players like Benzema, not the Cristiano and Messi level of things, but that next little notch down. He definitely had the talent, but it's probably why he's in this list. He was just too much of a Maverick. It was Ben Arthur's way or nothing.
The goal he scored against Bolton riles me still to this day.
Someone's got to launch him, haven't they?
No, that's what I said. I was like, foul him.
I'm pretty sure that's the goal he's celebrating in his picture, by the way.
Yeah, well, thanks for that. Yeah, no, I was like, foul him. And it went on for so long that it was like multiple mid-sentence conversations. Like, why isn't he fouled him? How has he not been fouled yet? Why is he not being fouled? How has he not been fouled yet? And then it was just like, yeah. And I remember a guy going, "Well, we're going to see that for years, aren't we?" I'm like, he was not wrong. He was not wrong. Yeah, and any tweet that starts "the streets won't forget this," I'm like, well, I've tried to, but I can't. Every month. But no, he was. But I mean, how long did you shine for?
Well, early on in his career, he had a long run of probably about 2-3 years where he was just different gear, and then he went off the boil a bit, and he had 18 months for us where he was unplayable. We got into. Would it have still been? It would have been the Europa League at the time. just basically because of Ben Arthur. He played the full season. He played off the right of the front three, and he was just different gear.
Was he a party boy? Or did he like eating too much?
Yeah, he was more shisha and eat food kind of guy than actually stumbling out of nightclubs. But yeah, that was Ben Arthur.
It catches up with you.
Yeah,
Can't
blame him. Can't blame him.
To be fair, that makes him like me more actually. Some good choices for that up in Newcastle too.
Yeah.
Right, the man on the other side of the picture, Adel Taarabt. As Jack has already mentioned, the streets won't forget. He is probably the ultimate the streets won't forget footballer.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff. He literally played FIFA Street in the Premier League. It was some of the stuff you saw him doing was bonkers. There's one that I remember seeing for Tottenham where he does sort of like a half double drag back and rolls it through someone's leg. And half of the pitch are like, as he does it, and it's just like you don't see that reaction very often at all. But yeah, what a magic player!
Well, he did it in the Championship, and you think that's just fucking harsh, isn't it?
Oh yeah, he was proper taking liberties.
He was like if we're saying about Mavericks being allowed to do what they do on the pitch, that motherfucker, he was allowed to do whatever he did. Whether he was allowed to decide whether he turned up to training or not, or what time he turned up for games. I think Neil Warnock was just like, not one player on the team was like, oh, you treat him different. Like sometimes, obviously, it was like, I'd often hear that is that not one player was just like, remotely, because he was just turning up and doing it.
Yeah,
I actually remember. I think it might have been Anton Ferdinand when he went there. And early on in his first few days, Taarabt turned up. Everybody had been there for like an hour, got ready. Taarabt hadn't turned up. He was there 20 minutes training, and he just came running out and joined in. Manager didn't say nothing. And he turned around to the manager and was like, what's going on here? And he was like, what do you mean?
Wait until Saturday.
What are you talking about? There's nothing to see here. Just get on with your game. Don't worry about it.
And the Championship, this is like a quote that could be used against me in some time down the line, I can imagine. But the Championship to do skills is probably in a way harder than the Premier League, because the Championship, people don't care about just snapping you. In the Premier League, there is still some sort of a resistance barrier where, you're not just going to absolutely nail someone. It's Tuesday, Saturday every week. And he was just doing it in the Championship as well. And some of his goals were like, it's just not flukes, just so supreme, talent coming out of his pores, basically, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But I mean, he's just people. I think Maverick also evokes sometimes a little bit of sadness, because you think you kind of want it. If he'd done that for another, he had another 10 years, he could have added on to that career, really, or combined on it. But then does that mean that he does fall into the Maverick category? I don't know.
I think that's part of the reason he does, though, isn't it? A lot of these players fall in there because they were mad enough and not care that they didn't do it for long periods. Even Ronaldinho, he was back in Brazil by 30, 31, something crazy like that. Just because he was like, right, I've done it all. Right, I'm off back. I'm going to go back Carnival and just live my life playing beach football. I can't think it might have been Hayden Stocks. He went to, I can't remember where he said he went. And they were walking down the beach, and Ronaldinho was just there playing beach volleyball, like beach volleyball with randoms.
Yeah.
Who was that player that said, "If I score, can I go to Carnival"?
Oh, that was Romario.
And then he scored a hat trick, didn't he? And then just
he turned around and went, "If I get two,
the stadium to the fly or something like that."
I think that was under like a quite tough note. I think it might have been Louis van Gaal, was it?
I think it might have been. It was
or Cruyff. No, it's Cruyff.
I can't remember which manager it was, but he said, if I get 2 goals, can I go to Carnival? And he said, yeah, if you get 2 goals, you can get. He got 2 goals in like the first 20 minutes and asked to be subbed. And he went, no, play till half time. Got a hat trick before half time, and he got subbed off and went to Carnival.
What a man.
Yeah, you'd just be so livid, though, wouldn't you, as an opposition fan? Or an opposition player when you hear that story. That would just be.
There is absolutely no doubt that he was telling the centre backs the story as he bagged his second.
He was inviting them on the plane. He's probably what it was.
Yeah, one of them got a ticket. That's why.
Yeah.
We could have had like half of this show just on Brazilians. Just saying about that Romara, I just thought of Edmundo. Weren't particularly great, but he was pictured whilst he was playing for Fiorentina. Again, he cleared off to Carnival and got a picture with a monkey like giving him a cigar and things like.
Yeah.
They were all a bit mad. Like loads of them from out there were a bit mad. But bringing it back a little bit closer to home, probably the two most talented players we've ever produced. I felt they had to fall into Maverick category, to be fair. As much as Rooney had a very long, successful career and played various roles in his team, he was just Wayne Rooney. Announcing yourself at 16 by banging one in from 30 yards against Arsenal is pretty Maverick. Turning around and saying that turning around and saying I idolised the guys at Everton until I started training with them and realised they're shit is pretty Maverick territory, to be fair.
I've never heard that before.
And it's not that old of a quote. He was idolised all of the guys at Everton, and then I started training with the first team and realised they were shit.
Deep.
And no one would be offended if he worded that differently by saying I was much better than them, but he just decided not to. Yeah, he just thought, no, I'll just go with what I actually think.
It's such a bonkers thing to say, though. But
he is. Sorry, back to the when players become unplayable. He was another one that if you'd watch a game in and you could smell it on him, he was literally unplayable.
Yeah. He was unplayable. Euros with England, he was unplayable for a full.
Oh yeah, for sure. I still think if we would have won that if he didn't break his toe.
Yeah.
I think he would have won that just basically on the basis of him. I'm not saying any other reason than that. He just was he just had that force of nature within him, didn't he?
Other teams would have concentrated so much on stopping him. Because it would have, at that time, it would have took 3 or 4 players.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, yeah, he was. And then, do you know what? He just went to Man United, and it was seamless as well.
Hat-trick on his Champions League debut.
Yeah, I remember watching that. I was thinking,
his third goal
as well.
Yeah, that free kick is. I think he promised him a flight to Rio as well. But that happens though when you're amazing, though, isn't it? And these things just happen. Probably adds to the legend more as well. That it's.
I always think about that. I'm sorry, Rich, but that volley against Newcastle where he slags off the referee for 20 yards, turn round and just thumbs it.
Yeah.
That's an underrated, cleanest hit.
Yeah, no, I fully appreciate stuff. As you know very well, Stock, I was one for whinging at referees and then just getting straight back involved with the game, but never to that level of I've
just
ridiculous. It's like, ref, that's crap, bang, goal. Okay, great, fantastic. God.
It's one of those moments as well that makes you realise how good footballers actually are.
Yeah.
Like Paul Scholes, whenever he was called offside or for a foul or something, he always seemed to then just ping it into the net, and it just like flying. You're like, what? So you could literally just score these, could you? At any moment, like that Rooney one is just obscene. Like it's not like someone will be like, oh, it's like a 1 in 1,000 hit, but it's actually not, is it? It's like a 1 in 1 because he knows he can do it and just did it. It's incredible. And he harnessed anger, didn't he? He harnessed anger that probably like not really many people could do. Like you could tell, and that powered him, didn't it? Yeah, he was a spectacular player.
I watched a good couple of videos. Remember when you could still contest a drop ball?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
And he contested drop ball, and that was fair. So he sprinted 15 yards and flattened someone.
Mashes the next
Yeah,
one.
yeah. Beautiful.
Glorious stuff.
And I watched another one when he was in America. He chased someone for 70 yards, slid him, then pinged the ball out 80 yards in like the 95th minute or whatever, and they scored like
for the winner. Got the assist for the winner, wasn't it?
That's Maverick.
Tracked someone who was running in 1-on-1 on the goalie, won the slide tackle, rolled it with his feet, and then just pinged it into the box for the winner.
And hasn't he scored in his own half for 3 different clubs?
I believe so. He's done one for Everton, which was against Liverpool, I believe.
He's
done one against West Ham.
And he did one for DC United as well.
Yeah. That's good stuff, Jack. I like that.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, frustrating. I mean, how can he not have done it once against San Marino or something for England? Just to yeah.
I don't think it's because they're England River in their own half to shoot from.
No, but he was just totally unplayable. He was one that he really seemed to step it up against Bolton, and you just like, and he was so, because he was nails and talented. He was like our antithesis. We just couldn't stop him. We just literally could not stop him. I still get memories of poor Nicky Hunt trying to chase it. He was another one though, because you couldn't foul him. Like if he didn't want to be fouled, he just wouldn't be fouled.
Wouldn't be fouled.
So what you meant to do, but you can't stop it, can you? And he was another one though that would, probably underrated for his assists and everything that he did. I think he's probably some Reds I know feels he tainted it when he was doing his tactical "I'm going to leave so he'd get his new contract" stuff. I think that was 2 or 3 times he did that. But yeah, what a player! And I don't think we'll ever see anyone like that again, ever.
No, not a chance. Not a chance. But then rolling over to the other guy, Paul Gascoigne, who we could have a very similar conversation about when we talk about potentially winning a tournament and where it could have gone wrong. And yeah, it was a World Cup, wasn't it? And he got his second yellow.
Yeah.
Oh, against Germany.
Yeah.
Shock.
Yeah. Do you know something? When I think about Gascoigne in England, I always think about Euro '96 and the extra time, and he's sliding in from that bullshit. And I swear he gets closer every time I watch it. Oh my god!
And if he wasn't such a maverick, he probably would have got there.
If he weren't a maverick, he'd be still back on the halfway line because he was nuts.
Yeah, he was completely bonkers. There's so many Paul Gascoigne moments, like when he was at Everton and Ginola joined and he trained in a Ginola wig.
I saw that last maybe this week. I think never seen it before. I saw it this week. Yeah.
Lineker has loads of stories about him, doesn't he? Like before, like the England games in Italia '90, he was like playing ping pong till like the early hours of the morning and running and.
Yeah, but that's what they used to say about Rooney when he was in that first tournament. He would sit up pretty much all night, like playing FIFA or something like that, and then just rock up, have chicken nuggets for breakfast, and just destroy the team.
Yeah. Again, Sam will never have another Rooney. I don't think we'll ever have another Gascoigne because we can go on about how mental he was, but again, he was hard as you like. He was a proper midfielder. Like we always think of him as ultra talented, but he was a big. Yeah. He was a big lad. You didn't go shoulder to shoulder with him, and seldom did anyone ever come off better.
Yeah.
Apart from when he completely destroyed his kneecap going launching through someone in the FA Cup, wasn't it?
Gary Charles.
Yeah.
He did well that day. It's fair to say he could have he definitely ruined his own career for a while. Gary Charles was never the same either, was he? But he was idolised in Lazio.
He was pretty much everywhere he went, wasn't he? Regardless.
Yeah. Rangers. He definitely weren't a manager thing. He didn't last long at Kettering.
No.
Oh, well, Rooney, when he hasn't gone on to become a good manager, but he went on to become a manager as well.
No, you're right. Yeah, he has. Yeah, he is probably the closest we've got so far.
So far, yeah.
He put in a good basis for Plymouth's current revival, did he not?
So stop everything that he was doing and try that.
Yeah. He showed them what not to do. Now they're
Yeah.
doing really well.
Yeah, that was the plan. That must have been the plan. Right, these next two. I think this is going to be a very interesting conversation. We now have two completely bonkers goalkeepers. For those that don't know, we've got Jose Silva on the left and then Rene Higuita on the right. And who wants to start off?
Well, Chilavert was like he is totally unique, isn't he?
Yeah.
I think the difference why it wasn't the shot offside or wasn't the ball stopped? That wasn't a live shot, was it?
No. With Higuita's one, it didn't matter what happened, even if it went in, something could have been given. It might have been offside of a free kick or something could have been given.
Jamie Redknapp's one?
Yeah.
No, that was fine.
Nah, something had definitely been given.
Oh, had it?
So when he makes this save, I think it is. Yeah, it's so random though. But
the Redknapp one was at Wembley, so it was obviously a repeat offender for that.
Yeah.
After he died, he used to go around like in his Harley and had to carry a gun in his Harley because people were after him.
Yeah.
Now we're talking firearms. That's a Maverick.
Yeah. But Chilavert, that's just so. I mean, he would be your captain in fantasy football every week, wouldn't he? Really?
Yeah. As a professional goalkeeper, he scored 67 goals.
Yeah, that's obscene.
67 goals. I used to take free kicks and penalties with him on Pro Evo 3 or whatever the hell it was.
It was so fun watching him run back. He must have been seriously fit though.
Oh yeah.
He's probably sprinting more than anyone more than any keeper ever in one game. He's probably sprinted more than them. But I think one of the reasons why he must have been so good at free kicks as well, or better than the average, of course, would be that he must have had to get it that if it doesn't go in, it misses by a fucking lot.
Yeah,
so he's got to absolutely smash it to the point where if it's roughly on target, it's going in because he's smacking it so hard. Or if it misses, of course, he's got ages to go back. More time than normal to go back. But yeah, I mean that's Maverick. That's got to be Maverick material, that right?
100%. I didn't realize this, but Rene Higuita scored 43 goals.
Oh right.
Did he?
Yeah, I did not realize that part of it.
What was he a free kick specialist too?
Mate, I don't know. I can't. I've literally just Googled it to figure out how many Chilavert scored, and fourth on the list is Rene Higuita with 43.
My God,
with George Campos just above, and someone
Cini?
called Johnny Vegas.
Oh right, I was going to say I thought Rodrigo Cini was a Brazilian keeper. He took a couple.
He scored 100 and something apparently though.
Yeah,
that Cini guy.
Look at all these like South American keepers taking free kicks and whatnot. Could you imagine like Tim Flowers trying to take a free kick or fucking Chris Woods? It'd be
England never had a keeper that you could back to take a free kick.
Would you let Pickford take one now? He'd probably try to head it in from a dead ball.
No, maybe a penalty, but not a free kick.
Edison's like pretty well known that he got an assist in the weekend.
Yeah, let's not talk about that.
Oh, sorry. Fuck him now. No Bolton keeper would I ever have wanted to take a free kick. No. UCS Milan.
Even a little UCS Milan, yeah, I was going to say.
Well, he couldn't even keep the ball on the pitch from goal kicks. It was enraging, which is why he never left us. Obviously, a great legend that he was. Number 2 in our all-time appearances, which is always will make me sad forever, unfortunately. But he's got 3 assists though. I saw he popped up on the match of the day graphic on the weekend. Now Edison's above it. I think hasn't Edison got 3 this season?
Yeah.
I mean that is just too talented, isn't it?
It's bonkers, yeah.
But Brazilians are just so good at football that obviously when you get, I mean, it's no shock, is it? Like that he's Brazilian. Like, he is so skillful at football. He's just unfortunately got to put a pair of gloves on and stand in between the sticks.
He could play centre mid for West Ham in a minute quite easily.
Well, it's pretty well known that he's like genuinely very good at football.
Yeah. I'm surprised we haven't seen it at some point, to be honest.
Yeah,
like when Stuart Pearce put David James up front for a half for Man City.
And he was probably the worst footballing goalie I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
I remember seeing him on Soccer AM, and it was like, this guy, has he ever played? Has he ever kicked a football? What is going on here?
Yeah.
That's a great shout. Great shout and should have Jack. That was, mate. Because I didn't even think of keepers. Then as soon as Mitch said you said that one, I was like, you got to put in Higuita as well.
Right, yeah.
Although I would say that both of your spellings for both players were atrocious, by the way.
Yeah. I spelt Higuita's name without the H, which was quite
your side with an I. I was thinking, who the hell's Iguana? What is this?
Very more than that. We don't pronounce our H's either, so yeah. That's probably actually how I'd say it. Yeah.
There was lots of drinks consumed yesterday, so I think I did well to be able to be awake to send you my suggestions, mate.
I think actually another thing on that is that it's probably an internal thing within my body refusing me to type out a keeper in the role. So it was there, but I just couldn't push it all the way because there was still something like, well, he is a keeper, so it's still not quite the same. But Mavericks.
Yeah. Right, away from the goalies, back to the English Football League. I know both of these are in two of Stocky's favourites when it comes to stuff like this, and his absolute favourite. Probably my absolute favourite as well in Lee Trundle.
Yeah, he's another one that's just got massive as well now, just for seemingly no reason. Like, he's an absolute unit now.
Yeah.
I watched something the other day because obviously he had his most infamous time was at Swansea. Before that, he played for Wrexham. And he went out to America where they had like a Wrexham Vets thing, and they played like a professional women's team there. And obviously it was on TV, so the women are like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna smash you." I think it was like something like it was gone like 10-0 at half time. It was massacre, weren't it?
They blew it early as well. And he's she was like, "You're going down a day," and he's just like, right. And then like claps his hand, and you can see that he's just like, I'm really not willing to be cancelled before I even played the game.
Yeah,
they just really did fucking abuse them.
He's still playing now.
For like Haverford, like someone mad like that. Yeah,
I did look it up, and like even recently, he done the penalty where just as he puts the ball down, he toes it in the top corner.
Yeah,
things like that.
No. It's just magic. Even when was it? Just before Soccer AM finished, he must have been on the last season. And him doing the volleys challenge was just a joke. He was doing crazy things. He was like catching it between his knee and his chin and then flicking it up to volley it and stuff like that. It was just...
I wonder why no one took a go on him though. Like, why did no one ever just try and get him?
No idea.
No one took a chance, did they? Really?
No, it didn't. There must have been something. Well, clearly there was something fundamentally wrong. But you look through some of the goals and some of the skills, and you think, why was this guy never sort of anywhere near the Prem?
When I used to play Football Manager, say if I got to England Manager, I'd always pick him for like if he played like San Marino or Liechtenstein or something, just so he could have like one cap, 5 goals, and then I'd never pick him again. Just so he always had. I'd do that every time I was England Manager. That's how much. Like, he had his own section. His own section on Soccer AM essentially. Surely Showboat was just built just for him.
Yeah, and that's kind of why it is odd that he never got. No one ever took a chance. I don't remember even rumours of it, to be fair.
No, neither do I. His list of clubs is crazy.
It's a long one, isn't it? And I dare you to pronounce some of them ones near the end because I had a look at that this morning.
No, it's the early ones. The first one I can't. Is it Burscough, Chorley, Stalybridge, Celtic, Southport, Bamber Bridge, Real, Wrexham, Swansea, Bristol, Leeds, Swansea again, Neath, Preston, Chester, Marine, Llanelli, Haverford West, Treffinlen, Manford, Mumbles Rangers, and then Treffinlen again.
Yeah.
So where were Leeds then when he played
That
for
would
them?
have been Leeds 2009 on loan. So let's have a look.
No idea. To be honest, that shocked me because I don't remember him being at Leeds. I think he only had like a couple of appearances.
Third tier, so he wasn't high up. They were in the third tier of English football.
Wow.
Mm.
I don't remember.
But even the team he's playing for now, he scored. I fucking lost it now. Now that I've googled that, he scored. I think he scored more goals than he played games when I looked at it a minute ago. Oh no, he scored 9 in 12.
Yeah.
Not sure what league they're in.
Yeah, but don't forget, mate, he's the one updating that as well. No one else is updating that Wikipedia. It actually might be 1 in 12. But
Port Talbot, that is, so somewhere in Wales.
well, Port Talbot, I think, own the top division, I think.
No, it's just in Port Talbot. It's not actual.
Oh, right. Yeah, okay. Yeah, it's certainly on the cusp of... that doesn't need to go on your Wikipedia, does it?
I always think of the one, he's like on the halfway line and he catches it on his chest, then rolls it round his shoulder and just carries on. He never sprinted either, mainly because he couldn't. But he just jog off with the ball and just, man, some mad tricks.
The best one for me is there's one where it comes over deep and he lets it drop over his shoulder and hits the volley first time on his left. It's just like different level technique.
Oh, yeah, he had a sumptuous left foot.
Yeah.
Something about lefties made it look a little bit better.
Yeah, I was just about to say that it probably invokes the mind. It probably makes it that tiny smidge more romantic when it's left-footed. I think is the way that I'm thinking it. Like, it just brings more intrigue to it, doesn't it? Because not only could I never have scored even, I wouldn't even have dreamed of scoring one of these goals. I couldn't have even. I certainly couldn't. I couldn't have scored any goals on my left foot. So let alone scoring any of these. It just make you just think like the talent is just almost like borderline piss-taking levels of talent.
Yeah.
And then man on the other side, Newcastle's arch nemesis. Everybody's got them goals they see over and over again, and Letizier's got a few of them against Newcastle, to be fair. What a player. One of them that you wonder why didn't he ever really get a big chance for England or stuff like that?
The English distrust of it. Like, how do you fit that player into a 4-4-2, no doubt at the time?
Yeah. I think stopping at your first comment about Mavericks was he's the pinnacle of it, that of course he could do whatever he wanted when he was at Southampton, but people refused to adapt their formation or structure or whatever to have him in. He was something else, and it's a bit of a weird one as well because with our clubs we any player that goes on to a bigger and better club, you obviously are tinged with sadness and think, why couldn't you have played your whole career here? So I feel a bit harsh saying this, but he didn't leave Southampton, did he? He didn't.
No.
And he was never going to leave. Doesn't matter who to. And you think it would have been so cool if he had played for like a Lazio, an Inter, a Barcelona, a Real Madrid. That would have actually been really cool. And not so much like a United or an Arsenal or something, but
definitely if he went abroad,
would have been like or a Marseille or something. Just something along those lines. But he didn't, did he?
There was when Alan Ball managed Southampton, so he weren't like the best trainer, and Alan Ball, he had like all the players there, and it was like 10 players, and Tizier's thinking like, am I not in the team? And he's like, it's your lot's job to give him the ball.
Yeah.
No matter where he is, he can do what he wants. You lot have got to do this. Just give him the ball. Don't play any football yourself. Just give it to him. He's the only one. I think the line was, he's the only one that's going to keep us up.
Yeah.
And this was the man who used to drop his kids off to school, stop off at the McDonald's drive-through, get a couple of muffins, then go to training.
Mm.
Yeah, doesn't shock me at all. Only 8 England caps looking at this, which is
He played for England B as well, didn't he?
yeah, 6 games for England B, 3 goals.
Yeah.
Do you know what? England should bring back the B internationals. I used to not mind them.
Yeah, it's hard to know where to pitch him against who to play, though, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So if you go too crap, you could just end up getting hacked and insurance reasons. But yeah,
there's too much football as it is.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
Letizia, bit of a knob now.
Yeah.
They're very much a knob now.
So quite Maverick in that.
But not in a cool way, like getting back in a Brazilian prison with a Paraguayan passport on you.
Yeah, yeah, no.
Like, you know, when everyone knows who the fuck you are as well, so it's never going to work. You know, he's just a bit of a crackpot, which, you know,
even conspiracy theorists look at him a bit weird.
Yeah, yeah.
Right, I think there's going to be a little bit of friction for one of these, but one of them's already been mentioned.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Dimmy.
Again, another one who I would put in the bracket that he just did it his way. Like, I don't think anybody knows if this man can still sprint.
Yeah.
And he played for the best team in the country at the time.
Yeah, well, I was about to say, he did it his own way for Alex Ferguson.
Yeah.
Which is a different beast of doing it your own way. You smoke 20 a day, and any man who learns how to speak English from watching The Godfather is cool.
Yeah.
Like, that is cool. That's just going to invoke some sort of romantic love of a footballer to hear something like that.
Yeah. He's got all of the touch of Maverick for me. There's one goal I remember, I think it was against Blackburn, and he wins it down in the left back area, plays about 4 or 5 1-2s up the whole pitch, and he's just looks like he's having a jog in the park on a Sunday afternoon the whole way through it, and then he goes and buries it, and it's just like, yeah, that's different.
I remember, I don't know why, because I'm sad. I remember seeing some goals for when he was playing at Leverkusen, and when he signed for Tottenham, my dad's like, "Oh, why? Why's that a problem? I've never heard of him." I'm like, "Dad, he is so good. He's going to do so well for them," and he really did. It was a different. And even when he left Man United, he went to Fulham, carried on doing it.
Yeah.
Went to Monaco, carried on doing it.
Wasn't it Monaco where he scored that mad lob from a stupid angle?
Yeah, it was virtually on the touchline and just like I'd say like that was truly Maverick because he barely crossed the line, but he still managed to make the keeper look an absolute mug. See, he's a Maverick because if he wanted to, he could just walk through a game and you still wouldn't get in his shadow somehow.
He probably has the best touch I've remember.
It's either between him or Marcelo, who used to play for Real Madrid, that just look like they're just so unfazed by controlling a football in any situation. There's one that it drops, someone plays across field, he's travelled about 40 yards, and he just traps it with his studs. It's not even instep, it's like under his studs and just stops it dead on the floor. It's just like, that's crazy.
That was at Fulham, wasn't it? Yeah. There was a video a little while ago. Like you get them the machines that ping the footballs out. Like they got the 2 rollers.
Oh yeah.
And he's like controlling a football that's shot to him like 100 miles an hour. Like, granted, the first one hit him in the nuts, but the second one he still killed it. I'm like,
to be fair, everything's fired the ball out pretty quick. They normally use them for goalkeeper training, not bloody touch.
Yeah, and he's still plucking them. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
That he done that pirouette turn against James Collins when West Ham always got bad at Old Trafford, but he's like You know, you was Jack said earlier on about the Ben Arthur one. Like every time there's a Man United compilation, it's James Collins getting absolutely roasted. And you know what's coming, and you still think, "Oh, cool, how do you do that?"
Yeah.
Yeah. He was another one that seemingly when he was unplayable on form. And you forget I'd forgotten, but like he was legitimately still very good at Fulham.
Yeah,
Oh,
he was class. Yeah, he was class the whole way through while he was over here, wasn't he?
yeah, so cool, like a very unfazed footballer. And now he doesn't give a monkeys when he's in the studio. He just slags everyone off at the drop of a hat. I love it.
Again, the epitome of a Maverick, mate.
Mm.
Right, we'll leave the reins to you for this one, Stocks. You gave him a big talk up at the beginning, but his picture's now up on the screen.
Yeah, truly mental. Truly mental. And the underrated, I was thinking about this after I mentioned the underrated thing about the Paul Walcott thing. As he's walking off, Winterbird runs up to him to go, "What are you doing?" And he turned around like that, and Winterbird just went, That's a Maverick, because even other players were still scared he might turn around. Yeah, as I said, Paye was pushing it close because he was a bit of a Maverick in his own way. But yeah, Paolo. I totally forgot about the thing you said, Mitch, with catching the ball.
Yeah, bonkers. When I remember watching that the first time and thinking, what have you done there? Why have you done that?
Didn't FIFA create
Yeah,
the Fair Play Award because of that? I mean, I know he definitely won it, but I'm sure I read something like they basically wanted to
promote.
they wanted like to basically reward basically what had happened.
Yeah.
Um,
From the geezer that shoved the ref over.
well, yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
from that. Yeah.
I mean, if we're going to slag the Tizzy off, also I must say I don't agree with all of his fascism business. When
Yeah,
you go back to Lazio and all of the Mussolini stuff, and I'm like, oh god.
yeah. The tinfoil hat's one thing. That's just a little bit. You don't want to share a pint with him, but
No,
all that stuff you don't really, particularly want to share at the city with.
no, but
No.
yeah, still a crackpot. He was very good at football. Apparently, Man United put in a bid for him, and like West Ham have virtually accepted it, and he's like, "No, I don't want to go." So he's got to be pretty mental for that.
I think he was there, right?
Yeah. Completely bonkers. I don't think they created it for him because people have won it before. He won it, Jack.
Oh, really?
Weirdly, Lucas Radebe won it the year before Paolo Di Canio did.
Baller.
Haven't we had someone else? I'm sure someone else in the Premier League won it.
I know Bielsa must have won it for that time. He let Thingy score after Leeds got given a goal they shouldn't have been given. He let the other team score, didn't he? Yeah, he did. That was 19.
Did he have to hand it back when he got caught filming training sessions?
To be fair, if we was doing managers, he'd probably fall into the bracket because he's a mad bastard. Fair enough.
What?
You all finished on Di Canio there, Stocks?
Oh yeah, I used up all my good stuff.
Yeah,
I was too excited.
You shook your load a bit early on that one.
Yeah, well, habit for life, mate.
I've just realised I've cheated a bit here.
I knew there'd be another one.
You know what? I didn't even clock that I did it until I pulled the next screen up. So apologies, but yeah, I've cheated a bit, and I'm going to say it's justified because Ginola was just one of those. He still scored my favourite ever goal against. I think it actually might have been. It might have been your boys, Jack. It might have been against Ferencváros.
Oh, really?
In the UEFA Cup, it comes out for a corner. He takes a touch, flicks it over the defender, and then smashes it in the top corner with his left foot. I'm sure it's against Ferencváros.
Wow.
And it's still now my favourite ever Newcastle goal that I've seen. And what an unbelievable player. Broke my heart that he went to Tottenham. But yeah, he was just Maverick there, to be fair, scoring equally ridiculous goals.
He just exuded talent, though, didn't he?
Yeah.
Like he is talented.
And the temperamental side, because he never got on with France, did he?
No.
Not, and neither did Cantona. I mentioned him earlier on. He didn't get too many caps either.
It was weird.
Because I don't think they wanted to be the average-sized fish, did they?
Well, that's Maverick mentality.
Well, it is, yeah. Well, when you just think you're better than them, basically, a la Roy Keane, he was obviously supremely talented, and was when he didn't think standards were good. He was a bit different. He didn't think standards were good enough for it to sort of warrant him, going through it all with them. Whereas, your Ginolas and your Cantonas, you think because they were basically same era, weren't they? Almost exactly.
Yeah, it would have been. Yeah, they were very, very, very similar age. I think Cantona was probably only about 3 or 4 years older.
But you imagine them as a front two. Like if they were on 4, you may as well just fucking pack up and go home. Forget it.
Yeah, I think Ginola's one might have been slightly different to Cantona's because I think they were winning by 1 in a game, and he had it down by the corner flag, and he beat a man and had a shot, and then the other team went up the other end and equalised.
Romania
kind of when his France career stalled. I'm pretty sure that is. I might have just made that up. I don't think I have.
And they don't make it to the.
They go out. I think they go out of the tournament because of it. Like, not out. They don't qualify.
Yeah.
By the way, I always forget this. Ginola was a unit as well.
Big, like 6'1".
Yeah, he was a big fella. Yeah, gorgeous footballer.
Gorgeous man, really. If we're just,
sometimes it's just not fair, is it?
Nah.
Which you could say equally about the man on the other side of the screen.
He's the OG.
George Best was a whole different level of talent to David Ginola. You could say exactly the same thing about him.
Well,
he's the OG Maverick.
Yeah, he is. Yeah. Well, when he said, "I was asked, would you rather score a 40-yard screamer at Anfield or sleep with Miss World?" And I've done both. It's just so freaking cool, isn't it? Like it's But everyone in Manchester,
Maverick quote you're ever going to hear.
Yeah, and he was the ultramarathon, wasn't it? Like on the booze, still doing it on the pitch in an era where people did again no A, just straight to plan B, foul you. Terrible pitches, terrible conditions. Actually, he was really still in an era of the balls. Been plucked out of a pig's bladder, really, hasn't it? And still he was doing it. Yeah. Stuck up for himself. He was quite revered. He was friends with a lot of the City players, so they would be always out in. Everyone has stories about him in Manchester. Like he was so well loved. But yeah, and he was so good.
Ridiculous. Could you imagine him on a pitch today? Like, how would you stop him? It's not like he'd have a boggy pitch that he's got to contend with. He could glide.
Well, I don't think you would. No. I think if he's on it, you wouldn't. No.
He had like a European Cup by like 21. Things like that, and
he won the Ballon d'Or.
Yeah. The Man United players won it 3 years in the band,
didn't they?
Yeah.
Bobby Charlton, him, and then
Dennis Law.
Dennis Law, yeah. Bastards.
Yeah, just mad. Like a proper pisshead, which is my favourite type of Maverick.
Everybody who's sat here now talking is their favourite type of Maverick.
No, it's he was supremely talented as well.
Feels like a crime. You can't have more footage of him. Like a bit like Maradona. He's just before every because again he got another one. It was against West Ham in the '60s, so it wasn't like we had a crap side. We had like Bobby Moore, Jeff Hurst, Martin Peters. There's a goal at Old Trafford where he runs around 3 people 3 times, just chips it in the top corner with like there's two people on the line and he still chips it over both of their heads into the top corner. And like essentially like when you was a kid, all the goal mouths were just sand.
Mm.
It was like that, you know, just incredible.
I think another trait of a Maverick as well is they're a ticket seller, aren't they? Like,
yeah.
Oh yeah,
they're a ticket
Good
seller,
shout.
you know, and you know he would have a lot of neutrals that would go to watch Manchester United, and it probably made them the club that they are now because they've just got so many people in so many different areas of the world and the country that support them, and a lot of that will be down to George Best. Or George
Yeah.
Best.
I'm sure everybody's heard that old boy over football at some point turn around and just say about a player, I would have paid 50p to watch him play, but back in my day.
Yeah. Well, when people say he's like a young Dutt Blah, that's, you know, it's just the biggest compliment, isn't it? That people say he's like a young George Best, but obviously very sparingly said. But that's what they said about me in year 6.
Was you on the booze?
Yeah. I just discovered the 6 then. But he was a ticket seller, you know, and people would travel from everywhere to want to watch him and stuff. And then he went just pissed off to America in the heyday. I mean, he was a superstar, wasn't he? He was an actual full-on superstar. Like, was Ginola a superstar? No, probably not.
No.
But he was like, you know, I mean, he actually married Miss World, I think, didn't he? You think that's just obscene?
Yeah, I think there was always the one that I always used to tell where he's in a hotel and like one of the staff come in like, oh, Mr. Benson was like, what are you doing? You've got training. Like, you're drinking champagne with Miss World. And he's like, yeah, where did it all go wrong?
Yeah.
Apparently like, there's like wads of money everywhere and he's got shit. I'm like, oh, God. Yeah, the OG Maverick. Like, Maverick stroke Playboy, essentially.
Yeah.
I was just seeing if I could find out if marion Miss World and winning the Ballon d'Or were the same year, but unfortunately they weren't.
Oh, thank God he didn't just do one final piss take and doing that. That would just be
Little white flag.
Yeah.
Right, on to the next, another one where the bolt might have been shot a bit early on this one, but we have got JJ, who we've already spoken about earlier on, and then Juninho, who actually made mine and Stocky's team of the 90s not all that long ago, but also fits for the Maverick bracket.
Do you know when that picture's from for Juninho?
Oh yeah, it's when they've beat Bolton in the cup.
The Carling Cup final, yeah.
Was it? Yeah. I genuinely didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Sorry, that one was it. That one wasn't deliberate. The Ben Arthur one was.
And in that game, the reason why I'm so bitter about it is because Mendieta he slips and kicks the penalty with both feet.
Nice.
So he should. I don't even think that was a retake. That was a miss.
It's a foul. It's a free kick.
It's a foul. So that should never have stuck. Yeah, all the way back from Cardiff. Bitter about. I'm not that bitter now, of course. 2 decades later, but yeah, he was class.
Got to be a bit of a Maverick to be happy to live in Middlesbrough, by all accounts.
Well,
yeah,
he probably wasn't. That's why he left. So he wasn't here long.
Oh no, he still had a house. He still has a house there and stuff.
He went and came back, didn't he?
Yeah, I think they sold him to Atletico Madrid, and then he came back a little while after.
Just absolutely loves red and white. Just refuses to play for anyone.
Yeah,
can't wear any other colours.
Yeah,
it just adds to the whole Maverick of
it. Yeah. No, he was class. I mean, to be honest with you, JJ Kocher, we've sort of done it, haven't we? But yeah, what a player! Ticket sellers, you know, because other than when we had Lee Chong Yong, a South Korean, playing for us, you know, you would see people who are clearly there just to watch JJ Kocher, you know, neutrals would want to watch him. Like that's a ticket. That's the pinnacle of ticket selling, isn't it? You know, you're not talking about selling tickets to, you know, or people wanting to watch you because it's United. I mean, people would watch it anyway. But and he was so I think what makes it even more fun and more like romantic for me is that he was so against the grain of what we were creating as a football club and the way we played that it just made it all the more better that he's probably the ultra Maverick, just factoring in the current team he played for and their style of play. Like one person, e.g. him, they weren't even on the same book, let alone page as Styles. But yeah, he was epic.
Was he not part of that mad crossover where you was just getting like Hierro and Campo and players
Lokayev.
Yeah.
It was just like, what the hell's going on? You used to sign them on like Championship Manager 2 and all of a sudden they were playing for Bolton.
Yeah, and you know, they all say nice things about it as well. Yeah, I don't know if Hierro was there when JJ was, but I can't remember now. But yeah, I mean, yeah, he was just such a special player. And also, obviously, ticket seller, shirt seller. You know, obviously, as Mavericks, of course, are, but just you know, why would you buy another player's shirt when it had JJ Okocha there?
Yeah.
10 as well. Don't know why 10 always feels a bit more special on the back. I mean, 2 10s there, aren't we? But yeah, special players.
It almost feels like I've got to say so good that they named him twice before we move on.
Yeah.
This next screen's a little bit. It's a slightly different take on the Maverick, to be fair, I'd say. So, Jack suggested Vardy, and I couldn't figure out who to pair him up with. And in the end, as soon as I figured out one to pair him up with, another name came into my head. So I thought we could go for a little bit of a triplet on this one. But mad bastard goal scorers.
Yeah.
All three of them mad for completely different. Well, you can just look at the picture of Jabril Cisse with his hair and the way he looks like he's going to murder someone in that picture, just to see that he's a mad bastard. Jamie Vardy is probably the ultimate Premier League era shithouse, and drinks 4 Red Bulls during a game or whatever the hell he does.
He poured bunny or something daft in his water bottle.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah. But like, what a career he's actually had though. Like, he's scored so many goals. Like, it's
crazy.
It totally is crazy. And
considering where he was sort of 5 years before he got to the Prem, makes it even more crazy.
Am I imagining that he played with a tag?
I'm not. I
don't know.
I don't know.
I'll tell you what. I'm going to Google it if it's true. He's going up there with Bestie.
So what year did Leicester win the league? Was it 2015?
Tottenham finished third in the 2-horse race.
Yeah, I think maybe 2014 or 15. But no, it can't be that long ago.
Yeah, no, 15-16. Because that was the season he scored in 11 games in a row, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's 15-16, yeah. So 10 years before that, he was playing for Stockbridge Park Stills. That is just bonkers. Not even 10 years before that. He signed for them 10 years before that and played for them for 4 seasons. So 6 years before he won the Premier League, he was playing for Stockbridge Park Stills.
And that's where he had the tag on him.
Fleetwood, Leicester.
Yeah,
that's where he had the tag playing for Stockbridge Park Stills. If away games were too far, I'd pay an hour and they'd have to take me off.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's mustard. That's just unreal.
Oh, that is Maverick.
Yeah.
Also, some great tap-ins But he scored a few bangers as well.
Oh yeah. There was one someone, I think it was probably Drinkwater, lofted it over the top, and he smashed one on the half volley from about 35 yards. Might have been against Liverpool.
And he's one of the very rare, absolutely rapid as fuck white guys in football. That's right. Which is I don't know why I always find quite probably because I watched Kevin Davies for a decade, so any case is abnormal to me. But he was fucking rapid, but he very much, not so much in the skills section and like tricks that way, but if he was on it, you felt he would score.
Oh yeah, 100%.
You don't score 11 in a row unless you are supremely talented, ultra, like truly world class. I rate him because he fucked Arsenal off as well. He was like, I don't think it's the right move for me, which does take balls, and he also backed it up because didn't he win the FA Cup the year after that as well?
Yeah.
Not like he hasn't won anything since.
I like the red mist factor as well with Vardy because he'd just go and clean someone out as well.
Yeah.
And the ultimate wind-up, as he's doing in this picture showing Tottenham fans his Premier League winners badge after he scored earlier in this season.
Yeah.
Which is great. Am I right in thinking these other two both played for Bolton, Jack?
Cisse didn't.
Did he not?
No.
I don't know where I've got that in my head from.
No.
But yeah, completely bonkers.
Sulk did, yeah. Les Sulk.
Yeah. What a player, though.
Yeah, for sure. He scored some absolute bangers for us. I mean, to be honest with you, a lot of people, if you say who is the best player that played for you, most people would say Anelka. Not like your favourite. But I like Anelka. So a lot of my mates are City fans, and it was pretty well known that everyone called him Les Sulk. That was like his nickname, wasn't it? But like he was just a loner. Like he was happy being a loner, and he just didn't like to be told. He was Maverick in another way that he just literally didn't like to be told what to do. And yeah, when he came to us, he was such basically, you go, that's a touch of class. Like he was such a touch of class. And I always rate him because when Chelsea signed him from us, he signed a new contract. Well, he basically had an opportunity to fuck us and didn't. Whereas most of the clubs, he didn't seem to care too much about that, and he didn't, and we actually got a decent fee for him. And then I think he was another one, like just straight in, straight there. I think just won the leagues straight away. I mean, his wiki teams list is mad, isn't it? Because
I'm looking at it now.
So he's Real Madrid,
Arsenal, Real Madrid, Paris Saint-Germain, Liverpool, Man City, Fenerbahce, Bolton, Chelsea, Shanghai, Juve, West Brom, Mumbai.
I mean, I reckon if you went on the top 30 shirts that are sold per year, I bet Fenerbahce is probably in there. I bet Arsenal is, PSG is, Real Madrid is, Juventus probably sneaks in there. When you're talking like, he might, sadly Bolton doesn't, and that team in Shanghai probably doesn't exist anymore. City probably now, because obviously he played for City, of course. He's probably played for like 6 or 7 of the most sold shirts every single season. He was another 10, a glorious 10, and then he fucked it off and went to like 23.
He was like 39.
39, yeah. And you think
39 or 38.
It's so borderline random that we probably still just say it's Maverick just because. But he was total class.
Again, he was rapid.
Yeah, rapid.
Everybody on this slide was stupid quick.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cisse was unlucky he had some bad injuries in his career. He's a DJ now, isn't he? Or am I imagining that?
Don't know, it wouldn't surprise me, but it just adds to the level of Maverick. So we're gonna I'm not even gonna Google it, we're just gonna say that he is.
He probably always was, and he just played football for a laugh.
Yeah. On the side, killing time.
Yeah, but I mean, Anelka was really, really special player. He's definitely the most gifted I've seen play for us by streets ahead. But yeah, I'd be amazed if he managed to pay tax correctly over his career, the number of clubs he had.
Yeah, wouldn't know where he was paying it. The amount he moved about,
and he wasn't always playing for France, was he?
no.
Didn't play a lot. I'm not sure how many caps he got, but I don't think he got a lot.
He didn't get anywhere near as much as he should have done, I don't think.
No. Well, he should have been 100 caps.
69.
All right.
What? It's a lot more than I thought.
So that would have been in the era with players like Trezeguet,
Henry.
But who else would have played in that era? They're probably the main two.
Well, Yuri Djorkaeff would have been in for a bit of it. Cause
I always used to play Christophe Dugarry, didn't they, in France?
Yeah. Luscious hair.
Yeah. Could be the earliest sighting of an Alice band in the Premier League.
Yeah.
To be fair, Trezeguet played for the exact same years as Anelka did and got 71.
Ah.
So they must have just rotated between the two and played them with Henry or one other.
Might have been. Well, Caps never says sub appearances, does it?
No, it just says caps.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3 absolutely like just 99 paces on FIFA type job.
Yeah, ridiculous. I think we're over to the last slide, and these last 2 slides have saved me from my cheating earlier, by the way, because Jack's now had 2. Stocky, you've now had 2 as well.
No, yeah.
Oh my word! What a little shock, Tevez.
Yeah, so I think you can understand why I've bracketed these 2 together.
Yeah.
Suarez, ultra talented, going round, part cannibal at the same time, trying to eat people. Tevez came over in one of the maddest deals ever. This is the only football transfer that I have instantly heard about and called anyone in my life. And I called Stocky this day and was like, "You're not going to believe this." He's like, "What?" Tevez and Mascherano signed for West Ham. He was like, "No, fuck off." And I was like, "No, genuinely, Tevez and Mascherano signed for West Ham." And it was like the most bonkers thing ever because they were always the 2 that you'd sign on Football Manager. Instantly, no matter who you took over, straight in there.
I remember where I was working that day because I was on the tools then. I was like in Primrose Hill, and I was like, and obviously the house was empty. I'm like, "Do you reckon they've got a telly here? Do you reckon we can get it on Sky Sports News?" They're like, "Stop!" And I was just like going around this house looking for a telly because obviously phones did not have that capability back then.
No, they didn't. I remember I got it on. Do you remember WAP?
Yeah. It was like pixelated.
Yeah, so there was no pictures. It was literally just words.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was unreal and barely got played. And I think even up until his like Man United, Man City days, never bothered learning English. Didn't care for it.
I don't think he ever did he?
No. Didn't care. Just growled at people.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was quality, but balls as well. Wouldn't be scared of a battle.
Yeah, he's got into management. I don't know how far he's got, but he's definitely a manager currently.
I would not have guessed at that for Carlos Tevez, to be fair.
No.
Yeah, he's definitely got into it. He went back to after he finished playing in Europe, he went back to Boca as well.
Oh, actually, no. I have seen clips of him managing. Now that I've seen a picture of him recently.
He doesn't wear a suit, does he? I can't see that.
No, he's one of them standard T-shirt kind of guys. He actually manages. Well, his last job was Independiente.
It's a big job.
Yeah.
Because he never got the scar treated as a kid, did he? Because it meant he couldn't play football. Yeah, he was a dogged player.
Well, just two players again that when they were on it, they were unstoppable.
Yeah.
Suarez in that final season was
potentially one of the best single player seasons the Premier League's seen. One of the best. Ronaldo won the Ballon d'Or over it, so you can't really go against that. But
insane. Like, so, them goals, we was talking about Letizier's highlight reel, but for a couple of years, Suarez's would have been up there. Like, so many different kind of goals.
Yeah.
There's one he scored, and like everybody seems to score great goals against Newcastle, but there's one he scored against Newcastle that is just bonkers. Like, I think it probably Xabi Alonso, because the pass was pinpoint. It's come over the top. Colaccini's closing him down. He's taken a touch on his chest that's taken Colaccini out the game. Probably Tim Krul coming out. He's like chopped around him and just rolled it into the empty net. But this pass was like 50 yards and it's come out of the heavens and he's just plucked it down and took 2 touches and then the ball's in the back of the net.
Another with a truly, truly sublime touch.
Yeah.
And after everything he'd done for Liverpool, he went to Barcelona. It was like another level. Like, all of a sudden he had a telepathic understanding with Neymar and Messi. I mean, obviously that makes it easier.
Oh, I mean, yeah, but I mean, he's by far and away. I mean, he's been part of 2 pretty legendary strike forces, hasn't he? The SOS and the MSN.
Yeah.
Like 2 like best of the era type scenarios. I mean, the Barcelona is just ridiculous, isn't it? Like what he did there.
Yeah.
Where is he? He's in America now, is he? Is it?
Yeah, he's in Miami.
Miami
with Messi.
Yeah.
Miami.
Into Miami.
Yeah. What I'm pretty sure he won a Copa America with Uruguay as well. Yeah. So he'd have been with Cavani and Forlan. Yeah. Like, so that's three mental strike partnerships he's been in.
Yeah.
Never allowed to go to Ghana after that handball.
I was in South Africa for that World Cup. Yeah, I was. That was England's group, wasn't it? Uruguay. I think. Yeah, they were in England's group, weren't they? Yeah. Oh no, that was Brazil. Was that Brazil when they knocked us out? Anyway, but yeah, he is not welcome. He's not actually welcoming the whole continent of Africa, let alone Ghana.
Well, yeah. Yeah, I can imagine many places he ain't welcome. Well deserved.
But if you're Uruguayan, though, I mean, that is true icon status, isn't it? And it's only I'm not saying we would do it, but if the shoe was on the foot and someone was like, "Would you do it?" I certainly would never sit there and say, "No, I wouldn't do that." I probably would do it.
What, the penalty thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone got so high and mighty about it, and you think like the players don't know, we wouldn't do that. Well, that's kind of the fucking problem, isn't it? I think therein lies the problem, that you wouldn't even consider to do something such as that.
Like, this is it. In a very Maverick way, that was quite clever, because like, well, if I don't do this, it's definitely going in. But
Very punchable face though.
Oh god,
very punchable face.
He was a prick.
Yeah. Oh, he was. Yeah, fully blown.
It was pretty horrible, but he was. You know what? As we was going through this list, it made me think, like seeing Sevens. Imagine all the players that it got coached out of them.
Yeah.
They went to because I was thinking, God, Joe Cole would have been a proper Maverick, but he got Mourinho sort of thing. And that's why I don't think in future years we'll struggle. It's all getting a bit too robotic and too structured.
So like that Alcaraz, who's now back at Everton. Whenever I saw him for Southampton, he looked fucking shit hot, like really good. And then I obviously forgot about him. And then when I saw that Alcaraz signed for Everton, I was like, oh, where's? And I was like, oh right, he just went back to Brazil. And you think he's kind of the same lines of it, but the standard is just so high now that unless you are the best player in the world, which you're not going to be, like you can't say no to a structure, can you? And the thing is, football's so cutthroat now that why would a manager ever let a Maverick exist? Like it's just not. You basically live and die by the decision, aren't you?
Yeah, but surely you'd still teams bottom half of the Prem and stuff like that. If you can set up a solid structure around a Maverick, it would still be beneficial to you as a manager. But you'd have to have that Maverick, of course. You can't plan for it and buy one in. You have to already have him there.
But a lot of those Mavericks we've just mentioned, though, did Anelka not really. Suarez though had a couple of good stints. I mean, Vardy he's been at Leicester for a decade. It's harder to get one in those situations now because people just leave, don't they?
Yeah, true.
People just go straight away. I think I said when I was thinking more along cult hero-ish type Mavericks, like Michu for Swansea. He did it for like 2 years. He put like a year and a half, got his move, and then I think the year after that he was playing like 4th division in Spanish football.
Proper Bond.
Yeah, just proper nosedive. So obviously he doesn't get in the Maverick category because he didn't really do it for very long. But that's what happens, isn't it? Someone's like, well, no, you can't have him anymore. We want him. Someone's going to take a punt on him.
The big club we get them, and then they're just another player.
Yeah,
I've got a rogue one for Maverick, which that a lot of old Man United fans would say as well. Paul McGrath, who played for Ireland, Villa, very successful at United, because he was fully blown, genuine certified alcoholic. Like, to obviously very sad levels, but was like, wasn't with Miss World drinking a couple of glasses of champagne before training. He was like smashing like 10 pints a day and, was in unfortunately a very sad position of addiction, but just kept continuing playing football. And then he actually blew his knee out and was still playing top level football to an extremely high caliber with one knee and basically drunk every single day.
Jesus.
And a lot of old Reds really, really fondly remember him. But yeah, he actually had one knee and he was playing top level.
That's a great shot, mate. That is a really good shot.
I didn't even know that about Paul McGrath, to be honest.
Did you not?
Nah. I didn't really know much about football till I was in Evelyn Park. So I would have been 11, 12. Before that, I just played with my brothers from mates, and that was it. And I picked a team that was Newcastle and was told I was never allowed to change. I didn't know that much about the game.
It's nice.
You've almost done a Maverick-esque decision for your own football team. So, your decision of that is borderline Maverick.
Don't tell him that.
Well, no, but it's not full Maverick, is it? Because it's clearly not been fucking successful. It's not going to list James Mitchell on his Wikipedia and then say below it, this is a success with his football team choices.
No, my football team choice is about as successful as my gambling. Let's just say that.
Preach, yeah. And your fantasy football this week?
No, I haven't even looked. I know it's been terrible. I haven't even looked. All right.
Yeah.
Guys, it's been a pleasure. Jack, fantastic debut.
Yeah, I loved it, guys.
Yeah, great
Still
stuff.
don't think we've got the definition nailed down, but
to be fair, there's more than one definition for it. You can view Mavericks in all different ways. So I think we did a good job on that, to be fair.
Yeah, very much so. I'm probably not going to sleep tonight because I'm probably going to put my head in the pillow and I'll be like, how did I not think of him?
Yeah. Stocky does this every single show and he's like,
Perlo. We're not even talking about Perlo. I mean, he's a Maverick.
We could have had hundreds.
He's someone you say about the position to describe a player. You like Perlo-esque. How is that not the definition of a Maverick? Like, he fucked about with all the top Italian clubs. No one seems to hate him for it. Grey hair again. Del Piero, for me, he's a Maverick. He's got Oasis lyrics, pictures of a tattoo of Noel Gallagher on his body. Like,
what?
I think this should be around too. Yeah, he's got
what? Del Piero's got a Noel Gallagher tattoo.
Yeah, and Noel Gallagher when they won the World Cup, and Noel or Liam, he said he's the first person ever that's made me wear clothes twice. So it was in a box, and then apparently for the final, Del Piero was just like, there is 0% chance that you're not wearing exactly what you wore for the semi-final. So he had to. So I can't remember which Gallagher it was. He was just like, I can't believe I had to wear the same clothes again, and he did. And then they won it.
Nice.
Bonkers. We
Nice.
could have loads. Baggio. There's so many out there.
Yeah. But he's also. What's the first thing you think of when you think of Baggio?
The penalty missing the World Cup.
Yes, it's too hard to be Maverick, isn't it? Like, if that's your first thought of it.
Yeah, I suppose.
You don't get a nickname translated as a divine ponytail if you're not a Maverick.
Yeah, true.
To be fair, one to go against what you said, positions being named after players. Would you call Makalele a Maverick?
Well, I would a little bit, yeah. Yeah. Well, because I mean, it's his position, isn't it?
Yeah, I suppose.
But then also, he doesn't ignite the passions like when people say the Kante role, does it? But Makalele role, probably because that's when we were younger, wasn't it? And we grew up and we'd say that. Like a younger person,
because he was like
the Kante role. You'd be like, no, it's the Makalele role, not the Kante role.
Because he was like the first midfielder earmarked as someone who played more defensively. Until then, everyone just run up and down for like 90 minutes, didn't they? In this country,
or like came in and sat.
Seedorf, like winning the champion, wasn't he the first person in the Champions League with three different teams?
3 different clubs,
yeah. Then you got Cruyff, who literally pioneered. Look, I'm not saying there needs to be a part 2, but I think there needs to be.
To be fair, you could easily put together a part 2. Zidane.
Yeah.
One of the best players ever, and then his last ever game headbutt someone.
Yeah. Ultra. I mean, it is actually his last ever game.
Another heavy smoker.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, well, it sounds like there needs to be a part 2 at some point.
Yeah.
Super.
Right, you can catch me and Stocky tomorrow on SpursKingsTV, and Jack will be back at some point, no doubt. Take care, everybody.
All the best, gents.
See you later.
Bye.